March 9th, 2011, the first whispers. A quiet Thursday morning off the coast of Sanriku, the Japan Trench begins to groan. At 11:45 a.m., a 7.2 magnitude earthquake ruptures the seafloor. Buildings in Miyagi Prefecture sway. Power flickers. People freeze. Count the seconds. Wait for the familiar rolling to fade. It does. 3 more tremors over magnitude 6.0 follow that afternoon, each strong enough to rattle windows and nerves. Life snaps back. Shops reopen. Children resume play. News mentions aftershocks possible, but no alarms ring louder. Japan lives with earthquakes the way others live with rain. Frequent, expected, survivable. No one knows these are foreshocks. The real fault has been locked for centuries, accumulating strain equivalent to hundreds of years of tectonic creep. On March 9th, it exhales a first breath. The full release arrives in 48 hours. Witty aside, the Earth doesn't announce in headlines. It whispers first, then roars. March 11th, 2011, 2:46 p.m. the ground breaks. 2:45 p.m. Japan's earthquake early warning network, over 1,000 seismometers, detects the initial P waves racing inland. Alarms sound instantly. Bullet trains emergency brake. Assembly lines halt. School children duck under desks or rush to reinforced areas. Then the S waves hit. At 2:46 and 23 seconds p.m., a 9.0 to 9.1 magnitude megathrust earthquake tears along a 500-kilometer, 310-mile segment of the Japan Trench. The epicenter sits 72 kilometers, 45 miles, east of the Oshika Peninsula at a shallow 24-kilometer, 15-mile depth. The fault slips up to 30 meters, 100 feet, in places, the largest coseismic slip ever measured. The shaking lasts 6 agonizing minutes. Kurihara City, nearest the rupture zone, experiences JMA intensity 7, the maximum. Ground acceleration exceeds 2.7 G in places. People cannot stand. In Tokyo, 370 kilometers, 230 miles away, high-rises sway like metronome for minutes. Kyoto and Osaka, hundreds of miles farther, feel noticeable rolling. Seismic waves circle the planet multiple times. Instruments detect the pulse in Antarctica. The entire Earth wobbles on its axis by nearly 25 centimeters, 10 inches. Honshu shifts 2.4 meters, 7.9 feet, eastward. Coastal land in Miyagi and Iwate subsides up to 1 meter, 3.3 feet, permanently lower relative to the sea. Modern reinforced concrete buildings endure. Older wooden structures collapse or tilt. Gas lines rupture. Fires ignite. The Cosmo oil refinery in Chiba burns uncontrollably for 5 days, painting the sky black with smoke and ash visible from space. Nearly 200 people perish from collapsing structures or heart attacks induced by the shaking. Economic losses from the quake alone approach $200 billion. Dark joke, 6 minutes of hell from below, and the ocean has been watching the entire time. The wall of water, 2:49 p.m. The Japan Meteorological Agency issues its initial tsunami warning, expected maximum height 3 meters, 10 feet. Within minutes, GPS buoys off Iwate detect sea level anomalies rising far beyond forecasts. This is no ordinary wave train. The seafloor displacement, up to 30 meters vertically, generates a series of massive surges. In narrow V-shaped bays along the Sanriku coast, the topography funnels and amplifies the energy into vertical walls. 3:10 p.m. Second warning upgrades heights, 10 meters, 33 feet. For Miyagi, 6 meters, 20 feet. For Iwate and Fukushima. 3:21 p.m. The first major surge crashes into Miyako, Iwate. Seawalls constructed after the 1933 and 1960 tsunamis, some 10 to 15 meters high, prove inadequate. Water overtops, cascades down the backside, and keeps advancing. In Rikuzen Tata, waves reach 3-story building height. In Ofunato, run-up reaches 38 meters, 124 feet. In Enioshi, Miyako, the maximum recorded run-up hits 40.5 meters, 133 feet, the highest ever documented in Japan. Over 670 kilometers, 420 miles of coastline, from Amori in the north to Chiba in the south, communities vanish under brown froth. Okawa Elementary School in Ishinomaki shelters over 100 children, teachers, and parents after the quake. Staff move everyone to the gym, believing the building is safe. A teacher bursts in shouting tsunami. They rush back inside. The water tears through concrete walls, sweeping desks, people, and hope away. Only a handful survive. Receding water pools with equal violence, dragging bodies, vehicles, and collapsed structures back out to sea. Thousands disappear forever. By nightfall, the combined quake and tsunami death toll surpasses 18,000. Entire towns erase the foundations. Bodies accumulate faster than the living can process. Morgues overflow. One official states the stark truth: there are not enough living to take care of the dead. Sarcastic aside, nature doesn't negotiate deadlines. happens. It just rewrites the landscape. The Pacific carries a horror. The tsunami radiates outward at jet speed, up to 800 kilometers per hour, 500 miles per hour in deep water. Within hours, 3 to 4 meter, 10 to 13 foot waves strike Hawaii and Alaska's Aleutian Islands. In Crescent City, California, docks are shredded, boats smashed, damage totals $25 to $30 million. Santa Cruz loses piers and dozens of vessels, another $17 million in losses. 18 hours later, small surges lap Antarctica, fracturing part of the Salzburger ice shelf. 4 years afterward, debris, roofs, refrigerators, entire fishing boats drifts across the Pacific, washing ashore on Oregon, Washington, British Columbia, and beyond. Each piece a silent messenger from vanished neighborhoods. Witty quip, the ocean never forgets. It just delivers the mail years later. Fukushima, the invisible fire. While the nation counts bodies and rubble, a silent catastrophe ignites 180 kilometers, 110 miles south. Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant sits on the coast in Okima and Futaba. At 2:46 p.m., external grid power fails. 13 emergency diesel generators start, keeping cooling pumps running for the 6 reactors, 3 operating, 3 in maintenance. 55 minutes later, the tsunami arrives. A 14 to 15 meter, 46 to 49 foot wave overtops the 5.7 meter, 19 foot seawall. Water floods the lower levels, submerges generators, shorts switchgear, and cuts all AC power. Inside the Unit 5 to 6 control room, Shift Supervisor Atsufumi Yoshida watches gauges climb. Cooling stops. Fuel rods heat. Zirconium cladding react with steam, producing hydrogen gas. 7:30 p.m. Government orders 3 kilometers, 1.9 mile evacuation radius. Radiation begins to rise. Zone expand to 10 kilometers, then 20 kilometers. March 12, 3:36 p.m. hydrogen explodes in Unit 1. The reactor building roof is torn away. Black smoke billows. March 14th, Unit 3 detonates, more violently, hurling debris and radioactive fragments. March 15th, Unit 2 suffers containment failure, releasing the highest radiation spike. Unit 4 spent fuel pool ignites, burning for hours. Radiation inside the plant reaches 1,000 millisieverts per hour, lethal within minutes. Yoshida later recalls a fear. Being exposed to large amounts meant certain death. Duty overrode terror. Without their actions, multiple full meltdowns could have contaminated hundreds of kilometers, potentially forcing evacuation of millions, including parts of Tokyo. By late March, partial external power returns. Cooling stabilizes, but the damage endures. Over 160,000 people displaced long-term. Contaminated water, eventually over 1.3 million tons, stored in tanks or treated and released under strict monitoring. Exclusion zones persist. Cleanup costs exceed $200 billion. Fukushima Daiichi ranks level 7 on the International Nuclear Event Scale, the only peacetime accident to do so besides Chernobyl. Dark humor. Nature starts a chain reaction. Humans keep feeding it for weeks. The lasting echo. Final toll. 19,759 confirmed dead, 2,553 still missing. Over 120,000 buildings destroyed. Economic damage surpasses $235 billion, the most expensive natural disaster in recorded history. Japan rebuilds. Seawalls rise to 15 to 20 meters in places. Tsunami warning systems upgrade. Nuclear fleet shrinks. Safety protocols harden. Yet March 11th, 2011 remains a fracture in time. Empty foundations mark erased towns. Families comb rubble for one lost child, one shoe. Debris still arrives on distant shores years later. The day began with routine foreshocks. It ended with a triple catastrophe, megathrust quake, record tsunami, level 7 nuclear accident that forced the world to confront how fragile the line is between normal life and existential threat. One fault slip, one displaced ocean, one failed backup system, and for hours the planet held its breath. March 11th, 2011 was never the literal end of the world. But it came closer than most days in modern history. A 9.1 quake shifted continents. A wall of water erased generations. A nuclear plant burned and leaked poison across land, sea, and air. It revealed how interconnected disaster can become, how one natural force triggers another, how human engineering bends but sometimes breaks under nature's full weight, and how ordinary people, teachers hauling children from floodwaters, engineers facing radiation in darkness, become the thin margin between apocalypse and recovery. Japan stood up again. The scar remains visible in rebuilt seawalls, empty exclusion zones, and the quiet resolve of survivors. If this timeline gripped you, Watch our previous videos. Click now and keep exploring the days history almost ended everything.